Good morning, happy Saturday. I just watched a video from Earl David Warden. If you don't know who I'm talking about, just Google Earl David Warden. You'll find him right quick. I know people would prefer me to use YouTube handles, but you know, it's good to Earl David Warden it up sometimes. Just don't get caught doing it or you'll catch felonies. Anyway, Earl just released a video. Who knows when he did it? He's referencing the 2010 DHS memo. So, I mean, it could have been years ago. We don't know. He edits it down and strips all the context from it. So, Anyway, he released this video. He wanted to film inside a DHS office of some sort. And a DHS investigator, I think it had to do with immigration or something like that, said, nope, you're not filming in there. Now, Earl said, well, have you heard of the 2010 DHS memo? It says we can film anywhere that's publicly accessible. Now, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. Let's just start off with that. I'll put a link to the 2010 memo, and I'll probably also put a link to the 2018 memo, and I'll probably also put a link to 41 USC 102-74.420, which lays out when, where, and how you can film. The memo is only how they're going to enact that particular regulation, not how they're going to enact it, how they're going to enforce it, how they interpret it, and how the FPS interprets it, and how the FPS will enforce it. But yeah, the memo is from, by, and for the FPS. It's written by the FPS, which is a subdepartment of the Department of Homeland Security. It's written to the FPS, which is a subdepartment of the Department of Homeland Security. It's written for the FPS, which is a subdepartment of the Department of Homeland Security. Earl ends his video obnoxiously with, well, I guess they all haven't gotten the memo yet. Well, remember, Earl, it was written for the FPS. If you look at the dissemination list, it's disseminated to FPS officers and PSOs. It's not disseminated to the DHS because it's written by the FPS, it's written for the FPS, and it's written to the FPS. Your misunderstanding of it doesn't change anything. And I took a moment to glance through his well-curated comments. And one of them caught my eye, which he had favorited or hearted or however you want to call it. It said, you should just carry a copy of the memo with you. Well, number one, it's not worth the paper it's printed on. Number two, it doesn't say what he wants it to say in regards to where he is and is not allowed to film. And number three, it doesn't apply to tenant agencies. If you read the memo, if it's a space occupied by a tenant agency, if it's a space that's occupied by a tenant agency, if the tenant agency is paying the lease on that particular space, including any auditoriums, lobbies, or hallways that are in that tenant space, tenant occupied space, then that tenant has to give you permission, either written or oral, depending on the type of photography you plan on doing. They have to give you permission prior to you being allowed to film. If it is common space in a building that is occupied by multiple tenant agencies, then the common areas, the common lobbies, foyers and hallways and things like that, you would be allowed to film, provided that there are no other court orders or directives or anything like that that apply. And how will you know? Well, I guess you'll just demand them, won't you? Of course, they're under no obligation to provide them for you, but you can demand away. Ultimately, when you sack up and get arrested for violating their policy and then being trespassed and refusing to leave, or maybe just violating their policy, since they can jail you just for violating their policy. I think it's like 30 days in jail and or up to 30 days in jail and or up to, I want to say it's $5,000 in fines or some not terrible high number. But your lawyer will probably be able to get access to the documents in time for your trial. Anyway, it's a beautiful day. Sunshine. It's a beautiful day. I've got plans, not fun plans, labor plans till early afternoon, so I probably won't be available much. I might be available here and there on Discord. But thanks for watching. Stay safe. Don't be stupid. Don't listen to convicted felons when they give you poor legal analysis that doesn't match up with reality. Because if the memo was to the DHS, one might wonder why no DHS personnel have seen it. Huh? It seems to only apply to the FPS, and the few videos that I've seen in the FPS, they seem to have known. Like James Springer in the federal building in Dallas. That FPS officer seemed to know what was up. He seemed to have a reasonable grasp of it. Anyway, I'm digressing. I was saying adieu, goodbye. Our feet are the same.